Hello everybody, hopefully everyone is doing well. Make sure to write down today's lesson, so make sure to write down today's title, writing equations in slope-intercept form. Make sure to write down today's learning targets, and make sure to write down today's definition. I will give you a moment to write this down, then I'm going to pause, and after that we'll continue. Okay, so just a quick recap. So we've already learned about slope-intercept form before. So slope-intercept form, again, is a linear equation written in the form y equals mx plus b, and that line is always going to have a slope of m and a y-intercept of 0b. Okay, 0 comma b. So this is your y-intercept and that's your slope. Okay, this right here is your slope. The number right in front of the x is your slope, and the number right next to it, the plus or the minus, depending on what equation you have, is your y-intercept. Okay, so it's very simple. You've already seen this many times, and now we're gonna go ahead and look at a different form. So previously we've been given an equation and we graph it, but now we're actually going to be writing equations instead of graphing. So I'm going to go ahead and give you just a little bit of moment to finish writing that down, then we'll continue. Alright, go ahead and write down example number 1. So write the equation of a line with A, B, and C. I will give you a moment to write that down. Go ahead and pause, and once you've written it down, we'll continue. Okay, so they want you to write the equation of a line with the y-intercept of 0, 5 and the slope of 3. So I'm going to go ahead and determine things. So you know that your slope-intercept form is y equals to mx plus b. So again, this right here is slope-intercept form, and you should know this by now. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So now let's determine. We need two things. We need to find our slope, and we need to find our b. So first, let's figure out our slope. They say we have a slope of 3. So this right here is your m. So you have a slope of negative 3. Your b, remember you have a y-intercept, so 0 comma b. The number, the right here in your y, that's your b right there, and that's your y-intercept. So your b is 5. Now we can go ahead and write the equation. So our equation ends up being y equals to, remember it's m, so you write an mx plus b. So for my m, I'm going to write negative 3 x, and then plus your b, that's plus 5. And there you go. That's the equation that you have. Remember, this is your slope, and that's your y-intercept. Let's go to b. So now they want us to find, again, so they say write the equation of a line with y-intercept of 0, negative 2, and a slope of 4. So first, let's determine our components. So we got to find our m and our b. So what's our m in this case? Well, you know your slope is your m. So this right here is going to be your m. Your y-intercept, remember it's b, so it's 0, negative 2. So it's this number right here, your y value, that's your b. And now we can continue. So again, I'll write the equation down for us again. It's y equals to mx plus b. You replace your m and your b, so your equation ends up being y equals to your m. What's your m here? It's 4. X, and then you get plus, what's my b in this case? It's negative 2. It's negative 2. But remember, plus or minus becomes negative, so therefore your equation is y equals to 4x minus 2. So why is it minus? Because remember, positive times negative, that just becomes negative, and that's your answer right there. Let's go to C now. Again, they want you to find the equation of a line of a slope with negative 1/4 and y-intercept of 0, negative 5. So again, let's go ahead and determine. This right here is negative 1/4, that's your slope, so that's your m. What's my y-intercept? Your b. Your b is this negative 5. So now we can go ahead and write down our equation. So you have y equals 2. You plug in your m. It's negative 1/4 x plus your b. That's negative 5. And again, this right here is your m, and this right here is your b. So now we can simplify it. Remember, this negative right here, that's fine. You could just leave it right there. But this is positive negative, it becomes negative. So you get y equals to negative 1/4 x minus 5. And there you go. That's the equation that you want. Okay, so it's very simple. Find your slope, find your y-intercept, plug them in, and then you get your equation. And that's it. I'll give you a moment to go ahead and write that down, then we'll continue to our next example. Alright, go ahead and write down example number 2. So write down this problem, draw your graphs. I'll give you a couple moments to do this, and then after that we will continue. Okay, so remember, write the equation of the following equation. So when we're writing equations, you guys remember we want it in y equals mx plus b. Okay, just quick recap. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, now let's continue. So we gotta find our slope, and we gotta find our b. Okay, first I'm gonna go ahead and find my y-intercept. So for my y-intercept, again, I could go ahead and highlight this right here, and I could go find some points. So where does my graph cross? It doesn't cross over here, it doesn't cross over here, it crosses right here. So this point right here, label your point. Your point ends up being 0, 1. So this right here is your y-intercept. Okay? So therefore, where's my b? Your b, remember, is this number right here. So that ends up being your b. So now, we can fill out the information. We end up saying that b equals to 1. So that's your b, that's your y-intercept. Now find your slope. Let's go ahead and find the point. So, we can use this point, right? Let's go ahead and find another point. If we go over here, if you go right 3 and then up 3, you'll have another point right there. So now, I'm going to use those 2 points and I'm going to go ahead and do the rise over run. So remember, your slope, I'm going to put n, is the same thing as rise, all over your run. Okay, this is very important for you to know. Remember, rise over run. So I'm going to count my steps. I'm going to start at this point. So for me to get from here to this point, what do I have to go? Do I have to go up or down? Well, if I go down, obviously I'm going to get away from it, so I have to go up. So I'm going to count my points. So then you go 1, then 2. So positive 2. Now, to get from here to here, you just have to go right 3. So 1, 2, and then 3. So positive 3. So now your slope, again, it's rise over run. So your slope ends up being positive 2 over positive 3. What does that simplify to? That simplifies to 2 over 3. And so now, you have a slope of 2/3. So now I can write my equation. Remember, your equation is y equals to mx plus b. So it's going to be y equals to 2/3 x plus 1. And there you go. That's the equation that you want. Your n and your b. Found them easily? That's it. Okay, it's very simple. It's pretty much you're doing the opposite of what you've already done with graphing. Okay, so they give you the graph and now you're finding the equation. Alright, let's go to b. So now, again, we want to find our n and our b. Again, to find our b, we have to figure out, I'm going to go ahead and highlight the y-axis, and I'm going to go ahead and find where it crosses. So you see that it crosses the y-axis right here. Again, make a huge point right there. This value is 0, 3. That's your y-intercept. Okay, just abbreviate it. What's my b? My b is this one right here. So therefore, my b is 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and find my slope. So for my slope, again, I'm going to try to find a point that it crosses. So you have a point right there. And now I'm going to count my steps. So I'm going to start here. Do I have to go, and remember, to do slope, we have to do rise over run. So do I have to go up or down? You have to go down. So I'm going to jump steps. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So we already aligned right there. But since we went down, it's minus 4. To go to the right, you have to go right 1. So positive 1. So now your slope is rise over run. So that's negative 4 all over positive 1. What's 4 divided by 1, you guys? That is 4. What's negative divided by positive? That's negative. So your answer is negative 4. So negative 4. Let's see. That's it. So now I have my equation. The equation is y equals to negative 4x plus 3. And that's it. That's all you do for these equations, you guys. It's very simple. Find your slope, find your y-intercept, plug them into this equation, and that's that. Give you one moment to write this down, and then we'll go to our last example. Alright, go ahead and write down the last example for today. I'll give you a couple moments to write that down, and then we'll continue. Okay, so example number 3, it says, when you go bowling, you pay $2 for a shoe rental and $4 per game that you play. So write an equation for this model. Alright, so remember, for an equation, you want to make sure For this, they want you to have y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do that. So, okay, so first, I'm going to go ahead and determine my m and my b. So right here, they say $2, you pay $2 for a shoe rental. So this right here, this is what you start with. So this is what you start with, okay? Whatever you start with, you guys, that's going to be your b. Okay? Now, take a look at this component. It says you pay $2 for a shoe rental and $4 per game. So if you notice, it says $4 per game. When you think about per, you guys, that one is repeating. So per game, you pay multiple times for a game. This right here, this $2, you pay just one time. But this right here, you pay multiple times. So therefore, this right here is gonna be this repeats. So always look for the one that you start with, like what you have to pay initial, and which one repeats. So this one repeats. So the one that repeats is gonna be your m. So now I'm gonna get my equation. Your y equals 2. Your m, what's my m in this case? It's $4. So you have 4, and then I'm gonna put 4x plus what you start with. That's your 2. Okay, so it's y equals to 4x plus 2. Again, this right here is your slope, and this right here is your y-intercept. So what you started with and what repeats. Okay, what you start with again is your y-intercept. The one that repeats, look for words. So when it says per or every or something like that, then that's going to be your slope. Okay, so that's my equation right there. So I'm going to go ahead and box that up. You have an equation that says y equals to 4x plus 2. Now, the second part, they say how much will you get charged if you play 7 games. So now let's think about this. So if you play 7 games, so you have to think about your equation. So right here, your x, what is my x representing, you guys? Remember when they said $4 per game, they were talking for every game. So your x is your number of games. Your y in this case is the cost. So pretty much like once you play like one game, then this equation is going to tell you how much it's going to cost for you to play one game. Okay, so this right here is your cost, or your money. So now I'm gonna go ahead and plug in my equation. So they ask how much will you get charged. So they want you to find the cost. Okay, and this right here, this is your x. Now I'm gonna bring my equation. So I'm going to find y, and I'm going to say y equals to 2 times, I'm gonna leave the x empty. Sorry, 4. What did I put it to? 4 times, because remember you're using this equation right here, plus 2. What do I plug in for my x? Remember, it's 7 games, so you have to plug in that 7 right there. So now I'm gonna go ahead and simplify. 4 times 7, that's 28. Plus 2 is going to give you $30. So $30 for 7 games. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Okay? Alright. With that being said, you will now work on homework for the rest of the period. If you have questions, let me know, and have a good day.